Hello, and thank you so much for taking the time out to listen. Today, I titled this message, When a Celebrity Passes. When a Celebrity Passes. Some of you, at the time that you're listening to this message, are grieving a beloved basketball player by the name of Kobe Bryant. This LA basketball player, Los Angeles Laker, had a major impact on so many in life and, of course, in death. We're going to talk about his situation that caused his daughter, as well as the other victims' downfall briefly. But I want to share with you the type of information that just might help you get through the future celebrity deaths, major celebrities. In the spiritual realm, when I recorded the last message and I talked about the storm coming, and I talked about weather conditions and things that woman should be prepared for prior to leaving. And I also mentioned about praying. Yes, I know some folks are not sold out for the one true God, but hang on. And I shared about embarking on a new journey towards the end of the message. We've got to be individuals that when we go anywhere spiritually, physically, or in the natural, if you will, you've got to make sure that you are crossing your T's and dotting your I's. If you are a major celebrity, there are going to be some folks that are going to break rules for you. There's going to be some folks that are going to feel under the pressure. And if you're running late, I got to get up in the, air quickly because I got to get to where I need to go because I got so-and-so on board. I know that the warnings tell me I shouldn't, but I will. See, I've got to go there with some folks. You know, even in your personal life, that there's times where you feel under pressure and you wish that you could be able to get on that train, that bus, that plane, but due to, and then it frustrates you because that due to that they tell you, you're grounded. You can't go anywhere. They say that on the day that Kobe was due to make the trip, there were copters even grounded. Okay? Police copters because of weather conditions, which is still being investigated as we speak. There is always that likelihood that a similar scenario, as I mentioned, happens. Somebody felt under pressure. Somebody felt like I better go. This is Kobe on board. How many times do the average citizen, if you will, breaks rules for celebrities? How many times have you broken rules for your favorites at your job location? How many times has individuals spoke to other individuals who are part of brotherhoods, fraternal groups, and so forth? Hook me up, help me out. Handshake symbols, colors shown before men, before women. Oh, I know who you are. Let me help you out. Coded language that describes who you are, what you do, where you come from. Come on. Some of you all, I know this is over your head because you're not in the circle, or you don't know anyone who is in a circle, or you never bothered to do any research. But hang on, because see, all of this plays a part when other major celebrities lose their lives. And those ministers who's supposed to be preaching God's word now in terms of what man and woman should do to draw near to the one true God, they're going to lose sight, as some have already done, on the message, the truth, because they're grieving over their idols. Yeah, I gotta go there. When you have seen a major celebrity pass, there is a connection, whether you know him personally or not, or know her personally or not. You tend to fall into what everybody else is thinking, what everybody else is saying. There's not too much time given to the one true God. There's not too much time tuning in to what the Holy Spirit is saying, because you get wrapped into what the worldly get wrapped into. Your five senses are caught up in what is happening in media. You don't bother to look at the spiritual side of why. And we got to go there. The spiritual side of why is that an individual who, yes, sells his or her soul for fame, for fortune, for power, for prestige, for whatever one's heart desires, loses sight of his or her creator, doesn't bother to think about his or her salvation, isn't interested in wise counselors, isn't going down any type of religious path, because, well, you know how you all are, and they have their reasons. But I am going to be my own God. When they are labeled a God, spirituality, whether good, evil, or otherwise, do apply. I hope I'm not speaking over someone's head, because I want you to catch this. Spiritual rules, the atmosphere, the cosmos, the universe, does play a part in one who considers himself or herself to be a god. Or they may not consider themselves, but other people have painted them as a god. And gods are told to do some things that ultimately cause their destruction, their downfall. Some folks say, well, wait a minute, why is it that the innocent folks end up being caught up in all of this? As I said in a past audio, collateral damage. You want to roll with that one who is a god. You want to be a part of the God's fame and the fortune, and I know him, and he's a part of this group and that one. You want to ride on his so-called blessings. You go down when he or she goes down. That's why some folks, they say, you know what, I'm not getting on that plane today. I'm not getting on that bus. Think about some of the celebrities who they had security around them when gunshots was fired. They picked up on, wait a minute, I shouldn't be in this atmosphere, and they choose to make the decision to go anyway, or somebody around them chooses the decision for them. And then before long, they're in the hospital or 6 feet deep in their graves. You all better wake up. It's not over yet. Lucifer intends on collecting on blood that was shed. Lucifer intends on collecting on oaths that were taken. Lucifer uses those who he wants to esteem and elevate, who are the new breeds, the new blood, while he brings down those that he no longer finds useful. His minions go before men and women who have taken lifetime oaths and says, it's your time to come out of retirement. It's your time to show up at the conference. It's your time to cut the album. It's your time to write the book. It's your time to investigate, depending on what industry you're in. And people say, especially cocky, confident, proud, fierce type of individuals, they get old, as I said in other audio, and they get bold and they say, no. What? How dare you tell me no? The minion goes back, tells the rest of the group, he or she said no. Well, what was the reason? I want to dedicate time to my family. You do recall the contract that you signed. You do recall the oath that you took. The spiritual realm is upset. We needed you during a time. We needed you to fulfill obligations. We needed you to distract and dissuade. We needed you, and you said no. Some of these black folks who decided to go, and I did say black folks, African Americans, what have you, who decided to trade their spirituality, right? What mamas and daddies prayed over them, decided to trade the light, love, peace, unity, being the advocate, the activist for the African American community. I'm going to go there. They traded all of that and decided that other paths were more sufficient, were more beneficial, were more their cup of tea. Some folks called those that died before Mr. Bryant, called them back to their roots. Some of them caught hold before they checked out of here. Other ones didn't. You want to play a game that there's still very much racist, prejudiced types of individuals. You want to be in the same bed with people who are, Lord Jesus, about the money. And they don't mind who they sacrifice to get what they want. There is the natural story. Yes, accident. Yes, human error. Yes, people make mistakes. Yes, people make poor decisions. But then there's the spiritual. And those of you all who have an ear, hear what the Lord brings to you. He uses signs. He uses visions. He uses wonders. He uses cryptic speeches. He uses that feeling that comes over you that something big is about to go down. He warns. Some folks say God took this man, or, God is planning on taking. God is warning some folks, no, that's not my plan. I'm not planning to prematurely, I'm not planning to prematurely remove people. But what I am doing is warning people, but do they listen? Man and woman has a long history of ignoring the supernatural, the paranormal, the dreams, the signs, the things that they tell their wives, they tell their husbands, they tell their mothers and fathers before they check out. I don't believe that somebody says that you're about to go home, or there's something that is going to happen, you see. And so people carry on with their day-to-day activities. There's no prophet, there's no prophetess to warn. People are about getting that money. People are about the opportunity. People are about helping. Sometimes folks got to sit down and be quiet and stay home, as I referenced in another audio. Hey, if I know I'm not supposed to go somewhere, I'm not going. I don't move unless the Lord tells me to. But you might lose money, some folks say, or you might end up making somebody angry, or some folks will be highly disappointed that you didn't show up. Oh, well. My God says that I'm not to go until He says go. And when He wants us to leave out of here, you best believe we gonna leave out of here. Not a moment too soon and not a moment too late, because of God's will. Premature decision making. People making decisions that affect other people's lives. Folks that didn't bother to pray. Folks that didn't bother to speak a word, warn some folk. That's blood on their hands, Lord Jesus. While folks want to talk about that other group, while folks want to talk about Lucifer and his minions and the folks who sold their souls, the ones who should have opened up their mouths, the ones who should have delayed some things, the ones who were responsible for making sure that all was taken care of, leading up to the death of someone. It's blood on their hands. The spiritual is not forgiving, like some think. If a person is not willing to do the right thing, if a person is not willing to make the right decisions, if a person is more concerned about what other people think or about their affiliations or associations or what promises they made, they're more concerned about those things. One can drive his or herself to a grave and bring others with them sooner rather than later. A major celebrity passes, media reports initially wrong information here and there. As the story unfolds, there is more information that is more accurate. There is the story that is given to the public, but then there is the story that is kept from the public. Unless you can sit down and talk to people who were actually at the scene and who are not scared or who don't have a muzzle over their mouth or who are not a part of organizations that tell them to shut up, you might get some truth. When a celebrity passes, there are numbers of people that feel connected to the celebrity because the celebrity has so many different affiliations, not just the one that folks keep talking about that was their claim to fame, but there are those other affiliations like their business ventures, like their fraternal group associations, like the places where they've given money and time. They also have families as well as friends that are connected to them. Those that are going to speak truth will speak truth. They'll do it boldly without worrying about the ramifications. But then there are others that will always have a speech that is very eloquent, that is very careful, and that does not reveal any pressing information, anything that would give us peace of mind. My condolences go out to. My heartfelt prayers go out to. During this time of grief, we are to give the family some privacy, you see. As the story unfolds and more information comes out, if it's information that's not favorable to mainstream media, that's not going to just help possibly others in the brotherhood, because folks are sleeping in the same bed, so to speak, in these industries, then that information is kept out of sight, out of mind. We also have the economic impact that takes place when a celebrity passes. They are worth, a lot of times, even more during that first 48 hours or so after their passing. Then sometimes their worth is above ground, depending on how old they are, of course, and how long they've been in the industry that they've served in. And those who are connected to that celebrity, especially economically, know their worth. Once again, more information shows up. People start to accept the celebrity's death while others don't. They want more information. They want a thorough investigation. Those that, let's say, orchestrated the plan to prematurely take a celebrity out, whether it was for so-called good reason or not in their brotherhood circle, these individuals are going to create a story that sits well with the public. Once again, leaving out crucial information. We don't need to share this, or we don't need to talk about that. Those individuals who were there are told or not told. They just simply omit their interviews, or they edit information that they give when the reporters are on the scene talking to them. As information is being filtered, there is the families or the family members behind the scenes. Some of them are troubled, but they know they don't want to say anything because they don't want to lose out on assets. They don't want to lose out on investments. They don't want to bring about more death and destruction upon the family. Some of them are given drugs, alcohol. Their loved ones are threatened. Don't say anything. You know what code says. Okay? Going back to the spiritual side of when a celebrity passes. Those that took the oaths, those that sold out, those that allowed themselves to be under programming, scientific programming that changes their minds, causes them to process differently. The spiritual will play a part to an extent because there are the witches and the warlocks and the magicians that have dual roles: scientist, psychologist, psychiatrist, doctor. Okay? The death of the celebrity is a sacrifice to their gods. There is the side of death in the spiritual realm that is a benefit to children of darkness. This goes back to biblical times. An example of this would be the children who are placed on the altar and who are burned to give honor and praise to the god of Molech. Okay? Burned, fire. The dark gods have their preference of how one dies. If a death so happens to look alike a sacrifice that is appeasing to the gods, that is of benefit to those who may have been responsible or may not have been responsible, but simply put, they were affiliated with the dark side of bringing that celebrity to power, to fame, to fortune. So it's like brownie points, if you will, for children of darkness. I know some people aren't ready for this type of teaching. I know this. I know that they just want to look at the who, what, when, where, how, and why, and let it be. But as you learn the who, what, when, where, how, why, that's in the natural, when you start seeing a pattern of unfortunate situations with other celebrities, maybe you will take a walk on the dark side, so to speak, of a celebrity's life affiliation. There are those who believe that God exists. There are those who believe that Lucifer exists. There are those that don't believe either one exists. There are those, once again, who consider themselves to be their own God. And whether you believe or don't believe, that's irrelevant. At the end of the day, those who know better know that there is a price to pay for murder. There is a price to pay for making poor decisions, called consequences. There is a price to pay for a sinful lifestyle. There is a price to pay when you don't even have a sinful lifestyle. You're just simply a decent person. But there are those who are haters and don't like you, and they want to destroy you. They want to destroy your legacy because you, black man, white man, Asian man, Jewish man, woman, shouldn't have. You're taking your money and you're doing what with it? You're taking your name and you're doing what with it? You're taking your influence, your power, and doing what with it? Going back to, once again, the celebrity who recently passed, he was not a supporter of Trump. When Trump was running for office, Kobe was out there encouraging the youth to vote. And when asked about which candidate he supported, he didn't name any names. But he gave you enough information to let you know he was not a supporter of Trump. A tweet goes out most recently about the condolences that were given to the family. Barack, he writes his statement. Trump's statement on Twitter shows up. Both of them wrote it on Twitter, or people around them could have wrote it. But either way, both tweets are very similar in style. Why would a man be creative in his condolences given to a family when, well, truth be told, this man, he wasn't a supporter of me. I'll get somebody else to write that. Once again, giving you an example. You can be just simply a decent human being, walking this planet, not necessarily deemed a child of light, not necessarily deemed a child of darkness, just doing your due diligence. Learning, growing, not wanting to be consumed by what put you on the map, what was your claim to fame, wanting to do something different. when called upon to distract, to dissuade, to so-called help the team or whatever, and you decide that you're not going to take one for the team any longer. Uh-oh. Someone back in 2012 said in a tweet that Kobe was going to die in a helicopter. He went by Noso. And he had a picture of Kobe on his Twitter page. That was 2012. In 2016, there was a Comedy Central show, Chamberlain Heights, something along those lines. And it was a very just stupid show. And there was a snippet where they showed Kobe in a helicopter, cartoon image, in a helicopter going down. And there were individuals that were next to him in this helicopter that went down. And they made comments, and Kobe says in this, which isn't really, Kobe's voice, but makes a statement about past. There were these rings, his championship rings, that rolled from the wreckage, and they snatched them up. After he made the statement past, the helicopter burns up in flames. Some folks said, it was just coincidence because Kobe typically travels by helicopter because he doesn't want to be bothered with LA traffic and all of that. But to have such a dark cartoon about the passing of this man via a helicopter in 2016. There were those individuals who labeled that as predictive programming, as so many other things have been shown on various cartoons and so forth, of people dying before they actually died. Okay? They say that various occult groups like to do that as a way of flaunting their power. It also is a good way to manipulate a mind not to speak up. It is a good way to keep anyone who's a major celebrity in check. If he or she decides to color outside the lines and start going on talk shows like celebrities have done in the past, and start revealing things that don't sit comfortable with other celebrities, with the powers that be, there is that orchestrated plan to take some folks out. We're not saying, of course, that indeed happened in Kobe's situation, but it is food for thought for other celebrities, just in case. You see? Some celebrities just might be putting their names in and putting death prediction in the search engine. There might be some celebrities that are putting their names in talking about death hoax. Okay, now how do they plan on taking me out? Well, I think I'm going to change my transportation. I mean, that's what I would do, just in case. And I would also check my circle 1,000,000 times and make sure I don't have a Judas. When a celebrity passes, yes, all things considered. When a celebrity passes, who was working on the transportation? Who was the last one seen at the house? Who was the last one who was in the hospital? Come on, let's just uncover everything. Let's turn over every rock. Like I said, when there's a pattern, when there is even the language that takes place in media using numbers. Yeah, some folks have connected the dots in that way as well. You gotta know somebody or some group is up to something. When you start to pay attention closer, that's when they have to rearrange and redirect. And maybe there was a plan to take out quite a few folks close together, but they're on to us. So let's spread this out a bit. We still have WPOs, white power organizations. We still have very powerful mafia. We still have all sorts of groups who, if they don't like you or if you insulted sons and daughters, and you were on the wrong side of the fence and you didn't once again want to take one for the team celebrity, they do things. But the thing is that irregardless of what they come up with, the bold, the beautiful, the strong, the courageous have to speak up, because sons and daughters, generations are coming along and they're following your footsteps. They're going down the rabbit hole. Isn't that what Kobe's daughter was doing? Was following her daddy's footsteps? These entertainers are gone from their homes for so long. I want to connect with my daddy. I might take on some of my daddy's ways and then call them my own. If that's what it takes to connect emotionally with my daddy. Our God sees hurt from afar. And when we call on him and we want him to come closer to us, he starts to expose some things about ourselves. Some folks had already seen that classic case of, I just want my daddy's attention. I'll go to the ends of the earth for my daddy. I'll go where I want to go if my daddy gonna be there. Ooh, Jesus. Some of you all, you don't see that, but God sees that. He exposes the things that we don't even think about. And what would that path have put that young lady on? A lot of these dads who have been gone from the household for a long time, we saw the byproducts in media, and we continue to see the byproducts when daddy's not around. The stories that some of these sons and daughters come up with, the stories that are in fact actually true. The industry snatches these children up and turns them out. There is no blood covering of Jesus when someone has put their child on an altar, so to speak. I'm asking that some of you all think before you're so quick to say, that's not what happened, or what are you talking about? There is both the natural and the spiritual in not just the celebrity's life or death, but also in yours and in mine. I'm going to talk about one last subject when a celebrity passes, and that's idol worship. What blocks so many from hearing the truth in all its forms, not just a Bible passage being read on Sunday by a minister who idol worships. But there is the truth that shows up when we spend moments with the one true God and we think about our family, our friends, as well as others who are sold out for celebrity. Who became major celebrities. And what went up went down. Those who serviced celebrities and had their share of stories. They mimicked the lifestyles. They loved their idols and what their idols gave them. Talked to them about. Advised them on so much that they too walk down similar paths or are right now going down that rabbit hole. I'd like to ask the question, since some folks love their idol so much, would your idol be proud of you now that he or she is gone and they see what you're doing to your body, to your mind, to your children? If they had it to do all over again, would they have given their heart, their soul, their body, their time, their energy to that industrial complex that is filled with sin? There's so many people that got those stories where I was about to do. You need to check some of those YouTube videos out. I was about to be the next. I sat down with the executives. You know, they got those stories. One of my sons, he got to sit down in front of a couple of individuals who look for talent for record labels. And simply put, the one particular song that he had shared, it was an innocent song. It was a song that little kids would appreciate, you know. They wanted something gritty. They wanted something sinful. There was an individual who knew that my son was into music. And this individual said that she wanted to give him some tickets and wanted him to check out a couple rappers that was in town, old school. And my son wasn't familiar with the history of these particular rappers, appreciated their music, listened to it, knew their names. But I put a stop to that because I knew the history. I remember MTV, and I remember what they were into and what they were still into, and part of the reason why they was in Colorado. Okay? No, you're not going to turn my son out. I go back and forth with this business of music with him because, simply put, I see the dark side. And when you're in the spiritual realm, you see things that the average person doesn't see. You see the imagery. You see the types of things that would make some people stay up late at night. No, I don't want him to sell his soul. I just want him to enjoy his craft, his hobby. You see. But he wants more. And some of you all, you be in prayer for this child. He wants a lot. And I know who's the driving force behind that. I'm asking that some of you all who love your idols so much in all areas, art, entertainment, right? Singing, music, dancing. Those of you all who got your young people who are into sports of all sorts. Those that are every ethnicity under the sun, right? There's room for another minority. There's room for another. Look, think early on what they're going to have to give up. Think their associations or even your associations and what is required. No options, no choices. There is the shame and embarrassment that shows up to see if they're mentally tough, mentally strong, able to drive them into various programming to make them better, to make them a god. When they break programming, when they start to have their own minds, when they no longer want to be a part of the craft that gave them the fame, but we need you back, we need you to do, then things start to happen. Sooner or later. It's not just about making a decision in the now. It's about what that decision puts them on a path later in life. The dark side intends to collect, whether orchestrated or not. And brownie points when a child ends up being taken out on the dark side. And that's ugly to put it that way, but at the same time, truth is truth. The enemy kills, he steals, and he destroys. She kills, she steals, and destroys. There are periods of difficulty, periods of shaming and blaming, periods of weakness in all of our lives. The enemy shows up, petitions the one true God. This one hasn't been living righteously. This one has been disobedient to parents. This one has been the individual that has went down that dark hole. I have fair access to this individual. This one wants a rite of passage through my portal. Lord, he's in my territory. Can I get at him? Some of you all, you get angry at the Lord when he says yes. Not our loving God, not our righteous God. That idol worshiping, want to be the best, want to be the God, wants to be better than everybody. Yes. Parents greedy for money. Yes. Shame him first. Embarrass him first. Humble him. He'll at least be with me for a while. She'll stop doing what she does for money for a while. She'll start putting some clothes on and stop sleeping with every Tom, Dick, and Harry for a while. Some, it ends up being a life choice. I'm walking away from this thing. I don't care how much money they pay me. Others, hey, how much you paying me? What all you want me to do? Throw a game? Sure. Tell a lie? Sure. Tell somebody else a lie? Sure. Put somebody else up to throwing a game? Sure. Pretend like I didn't know, didn't see? Sure. Take my clothes off for who? Sure. How much? The dark side. And then we get back to light, where there's the tears, there's the fears of darkness, fighting one another. There's the yin, there's the yang, there's the black, there's the white. There's the signs, there's the symbols, there's the wonders, there's the number meanings. there's the bloodshed. Long time ago, there was a commercial. What would you do for a Klondike bar? What would you do to have the status of a god? Lowercase g. I thank you as always for taking time out of your busy schedule to listen. You've been listening to YouTube in Enterprise 7. Feel free to like, subscribe, comment. We do welcome giving on this channel. Blessings to you.